Welcome to the VWR podcast, where we don't sugarcoat, we don't tiptoe, and we definitely don't stay quiet. I'm your girl AB, and around here, we're talking relationships, celebrity entertainment, real life, hard truths, and everything in between. The good, the messy, and the things people swear they don't do, but they do. So go ahead, relatives, and get comfortable or don't. Either way, you about to feel something. Now let's get into it. Welcome, y'all. What's up, relatives? I am so glad to see you in the building. I wanted to open up today and kind of give a shout out to Women's History Month, y'all. Women's History Month began March 1st, and it will be ending on Tuesday, March 1st. Women didn't just survive history, y'all, they shaped it while being overlooked in it. I believe giving flowers shouldn't just be a memorial, it should be a habit. And I wanted to ask my ladies on the panel, who is your notable woman in history? Who's the most notable woman in history for you?
My mama.
Definitely my mama.
Can you guys give your reasons behind that? Okay, Drāyas, I heard you say your mother.
Yeah, so I say my mom because I think our moms don't get enough accolades and praises, even though they aren't celebrities and praised for like everything they do. I think they go through a tremendous amount and still hold it down as moms and parents. It showed us how to be women in this world. That's why we're able to sustain now. So I have to say my most notable woman is definitely my mom because I've seen her overcome so much, and that has given me the tenacity to keep pushing forward and not give up and so on and so forth. So shout out to my mommy.
Absolutely. And Jess, I heard you say your mom as well. I'm going to go last.
I definitely feel my mom would be who I would choose because my mother has been through some of the things that should have broke a woman. I watch my mother get up every day and take care of all of us and go out, even do construction. The lady was out here building hotels and stuff on the rooftops and doing what she needed to do in order to provide for the family. Because of her, me and all my siblings, like, we are go-getters, and we definitely don't let nothing stop us. We have learned that emotions don't pay our bills, and we keep it pumping, you know? So shout out to Mama for that.
I just want to thank my mom. My mom is everything to me. She poured into me since I was little, and she's been there on my journey as me being transgender, and my grandmother as well. And both of those women are trailblazers to me, and I love them so much. So shout outs to them. Period.
Yes, yes. And so I guess we all share the same sentiments because my woman in history is also my mother because she showed me what loyalty looks like when nobody's watching. Her commitment wasn't loud, it was very consistent, like showing up day after day for me and my siblings, my father, supporting, sacrificing without needing recognition. And I think a lot of time women, as Drāyas referenced, like they're overlooked, right? They're not praised enough. They're not given, a lot of cheers, So it's great to hear that we all share the same sentiment. And shout out to the mothers, okay, in the building. Again, I just wanted to start off with showing appreciation for the women who are notable in your lives in reference to Women's History Month. So salute to you guys. All right, relatives. You in the building. I got a question for y'all now. Okay, ladies. And I need y'all all to give me your true response. Okay? Now, is closure something you get or something you create? Now, this can be in reference to closing a job, closing out relationships with family, closing out a relationship. Is closure something you get or something you create? Let me know what y'all think.
I think it's definitely something that you create because sometimes, you may need closure from another person and they may never be in a space to give that to you or want to give it to you or don't even think you deserve it. So I think closure is something that's definitely on your end of the spectrum because sometimes you have to be able to know how to move forward if somebody don't give you that closure per se from them personally.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's something that is created. I don't think that I really feel like people who are like, oh, I need closure are just like hoping that it gets right back together. they get right back together. It gets back to normal. You just keep moving like every day, like nothing. It's like a like makeup sex or something to them. Like I do not agree with the whole closure thing. We don't need no closure. I'm moving away from that. It was closure as soon as I closed the door. We were done. That's it. Locked.
I totally agree. I definitely think that closure is something that's created, taken, or built. I just don't believe that it's something that someone else can give to you. You have to make those tough decisions to stop, replaying it in your mind, decisions to stop needing them, whatever that them is. And, your decision to say, I'm moving on. You know what I mean? I may not understand it, but I'm just going to go ahead and carry on and get myself together. So I definitely agree that closure isn't always something received or given. It's something that you refuse to stop chasing and you create that for yourself.
So y'all on y'all Maya shit.
Moving
Absolutely.
on.
I agree with all of y'all though, because at the end of the day, like it's for me to accept my own closure. Like it's for me to say, hey, I'm content with this. Now it's time for me to move on from these said situations. And basically closure to me is learning lessons, right? So it's just a lesson learned for me just to move on, understand that, evaluate what went wrong, what could I have done better, so on and so forth. And that's just how I feel about the closure.
Even with that, I think we don't lose, we learn. And I always tell people I don't lose nothing, I either learn. So I either win or I learn. Those are my only options. And I think that's what happens with closure as well. You just learn, you don't lose.
Thank
Right,
y'all so
agreed.
much. I appreciate it. Now, relatives, I see y'all down in the chat. I love that you guys continue to come and support us each week. So thank you so much. Drāyas, what we got going on? Hot tea, cold logic. How you doing today?
Listen, I'm doing good. I'm kind of like a frothy latte, but like with ice in it. So just, with my hot, I am. Don't laugh at me. That's what that is. Y'all trying to come for me, and I'm just telling you that's not what you're gonna do. But let me tell you, child, I got some great topics for y'all today, and we're gonna start right here. Now, listen, this is gonna be the tea segment of the topics right here, and this one is concerning Juanita Bynum. Now, do y'all know who Juanita Bynum is? Woman Thou Art Loose. She was in the church circuit. Y'all remember that?
Right,
Yeah,
right,
she was heavy with the
yes.
TD Jakes. Now, she's been in the headlines for a couple of things, regarding her domestic violence at one point back in 07, 08. And then she had an arrest in 2013 for failing to appear in court. And then she was charging for prayer in 2022 and 2025 for about 1,500 to 2,000.
Wait, hold
So,
on.
What?
Wait, hold
I'm crying.
What? I cried. I cried at her sermon. What are you talking about? I was
so the
there.
curse let me tell you the new tea. So the new tea is that she is now completely going in on women and who show up to lead praise and worship without stockings, wearing what she calls funky, strange shoes. Them sound like Balenciagas, okay? With oil double X. She mad right now that people was using coconut oil on their legs.
Now
Oh
she
no, it
mad
gets
about the
better.
shea
And no
butter.
underwear. Okay, listen. She suggested that women dress that way haven't fully surrendered to God and implied that the look sends the wrong message entirely in a sacred space. Pause, gas, break, and dip, because I'm about to bring you the logic in this. Miss Bynum, Miss Woman, thou art loose. What you're not gonna do is comfort people. Now, let's not act like the women not wearing panties and stuff in church was a new thing, because back at Greater Bethany, back on Hoover, which was ran by Bishop Noel Jones, it was known that women were banned from the front row. And I used to go there so I know for a fact women were banned from the front row because they used to come in there while he was preaching and sit in the front row with no panties on. So you just now condemning these women is tea. When them same women was coming out their pockets for you, you wasn't saying nothing. But nonetheless, outside of your 22 backlash for secular music, talking about people shouldn't be listening to it, meanwhile you was talking about I wouldn't change my life. Just fine,
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 fine.
fine,
You was bumping
fine,
some
fine.
Mary J. Blige. Then your critique of male preachers in 2024 for criticizing the way they dressed and acted at church, okay? And then the rumors regarding TD Jakes and yourself. So I just want to say that people with glass Bibles shouldn't throw the first verse. Because Bookie Bear, we can talk about how close to not God you are when you out here charging for prayer. I thought prayer was free.
Me too, but wait a minute though. So that was a lot to take in just now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so not only is she projecting? Okay. This sounds like a lot of projecting. She judging. I thought we didn't judge in church. I thought church was where you came to be yourself and get the word of God.
Okay. Woman is not thou loose. She ain't. She's not thou loosed.
I'm so confused because how dare you? How dare you when you was out here being loose? That's how you got up where you are. The women who are coming to see you, obviously they're loose or were loose and you helped them to be tight. I'm confused. I don't know why you can't sit here and tell people what to do on their journey. That people was just on her sermon. I'm not joking when I said I was there. She came to my church as a guest when I was in Jacksonville for the New Covenant Ministry. She came there. And I remember being young. I wasn't loose. I was young. But listening to what she was talking about, I was emotional, like, wow, this is something. This is something here.
Though
And
I even remember the song, girl. My mom used to be in tears at the house trying to redeem herself in the eyes of God because she was out here sinning and winning, okay? Let me tell you. I remember that's why I'm
see,
like, hold on. How are you woman thou art loose when it's woman thou
Well, wait
charged
a
for the
minute.
prayer?
Okay, but what is this rumor with her and TD Jakes?
She had addressed some long-time rumors linking her to fellow preacher TD Jakes. Recently, she had broke her silence to discuss how these rumors impacted her reputation in ministry. You know,
They had a
the
thing?
Bible verses
It
be
seemed like
verses.
allegedly.
it come down
Allegedly.
Jake's always been some tea. Like he
It
was in
come
some tea
down
with Daddy,
It come down, Jay.
my God. It come down to
pray him down, pray
Have
him
you
down,
ever been
down, pray
He
him low
swallowed?
said,
down,
"Down the
down,
aisle, come."
Come pray with me.
No, come down
pray
the
him on this.
aisle, come down the aisle, confess your sins and bow, bow, bow.
Hello,
Well, that would be a church
My
hit.
Hey!
listen. TD Jake said, "Scrape your knees and confess your sins," but I'm
Now
not
she
gonna
got
get
her
into
hands
it.
upon
But
her
what I
knees
will
and
say,
Shake your
on
Bible
the
like your
Bible.
friends do.
Shake your Bible like
oh,
shake your
my
tambourine like your friends do.
God.
Girl,
because
the
at this
Christians is
point,
gonna
I don't
come
know
for
if
me.
listen at this point because I don't know what's going on with Mr. TD Jakes because
Sorry,
he
mom.
got all the tea with the girls. He got the tea with the Diddy, the tea with her. It's somebody losing.
Yeah,
Somebody losing.
that's what I'm
No,
Loosen,
no,
like,
saying.
you loosen is
loosen
right
is
because
right.
this woman thou art loose. Loosen is right.
Right.
You was on point with that.
Okay, so is he losing or is he loose? I'm just trying to.
I don't know. I just know she's losing and loosing me right now with this whole coming down. Oh, why are you mad at coconut oil?
Yeah, so okay, so is there now like I know back in the day there was, a thing where some churches didn't allow women to wear pants. You had to wear dresses. But was there a dress code on the type of dress? So no maxi dresses. You need to wear like, Little House on the Prairie
Your
dresses.
best
Like
Sunday's
what
dress.
is
Girl, I didn't even hear specific. Yes, I'm gonna say this specifications. That's my word. Specifications for this dress code. I didn't. I just heard her rant. She was mad about it, and then at the same time, I was like, "Well, why are your elbows ashy? That's that coconut oil you against. Why you rebuking coconut oil?"
Wait,
Yeah,
that's the Jesus oil, the Diddy
okay.
oil, or what kind of oil?
I'm just in shock. I'm just in shock. I just can't believe that someone, I guess, I don't understand. And then she's still going to jail and getting locked up and some more. And what are you doing?
Why?
right? What were those
Okay, now
charges
hold on.
like?
Now hold on. So hold on. Her legal and financial controversies was her arrest in 2013. Bynum was arrested in Dallas on a warrant for failing to appear in court regarding a civil case from a promoter, Al Wash of ALW Entertainment, who sued her for breach of contract after paying $140K advance for a play based on her No More Sheets sermon. That's the other thing she did. She did the No More Sheets. I remember it was Woman Thou Art
Right.
Loosed
That's
and
the
No
one I
More
seen.
Sheets. And you want to know why she was on her No More Sheets shits. Now you telling these women not to be in No More Sheets is crazy.
After
When
she
that's
had
how
her
you came
fun.
up in the
Right.
sheets. You
She
came
had
up
her
in the
fun.
sheets.
Now she like, no, don't have fun, ladies. Wait, sis.
Right. She was carrying that dirty sheet everywhere.
Okay, but now her financial controversy was the charging for prayer in 2022 and 2025. It says that Bynum faced online backlash for promoting an international prayer institute. I'ma say it. Who in the flip flop flanges fluck FLUCK? Okay, it's taking out a student loan for a prayer institute. A prayer institute.
You said a prayer prostitute?
In any case, it was with a high price tag, originally cited around $1,500 to $2,000, though some reports suggest it was later discounted. I want to know the discounted rate. But even then, she denied charging for prayer, claiming participants were paying her for her expertise. Girl.
Wait, on how to pray? Is that what it was? She was teaching people how to pray? I'ma charge you to learn how to pray. This is crazy, Juanita.
But you won't teach these women that all you need is a good handkerchief to go over your legs and that you don't cross your legs when you sit down. You politely sledge your legs to the left and or right and
That's
cross at the
correct.
ankles with your handkerchief. Meanwhile, you're charging 2,000.
Charm school,
That's yeah,
debutante.
that's crazy.
You know what? I do want to ask y'all a question. What bothers me about this a little bit is like, you know how back in the day people used to tell people like, come as you are? It don't seem like you can just come as you are in these churches. It's like it's always some type of like ugh or ooh they think or it's like if I'm at my lowest, right? You gotta also understand like if somebody's at their lowest and they're seeking God and refuge at a church, it should not be somebody like misjudging them, doing crazy stuff, telling them that they don't belong because they don't look like you. Everybody's journey is different. So that's always like that questions be in my mind. Like, is church really like an open door policy for people that really is trying to seek the Lord? Or is it a popularity
Right.
contest?
Right. With stipulations. It's open door with stipulations, okay?
Right.
Yeah, I think it depends on the church that you're going to because there's two different churches that I attended, right? And one of them, which is the one that I mentioned, my pastor that I had there used to say all the time, I don't care if you came from the nightclub and that's what you're wearing when you walk in here and you smell like liquor. I don't care if you was a stripper and you come in here in the same outfit you worked in. Come in. You know what I'm saying? And then the same thing with the other church that I had went to, called Celebration. And I remember one of my friends who I had come with me, she said she didn't want to attend the church anymore because of the fact that they allowed gay people to come in there. And she was like, that doesn't, follow with God. And I'm like, the church doesn't judge. They allow people to
Yes, I'm
come
gonna
in.
say it. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say what this other pastor preached, and I know that's gone viral as well. Jesus hung out with 12 men all day. Don't talk to me about being gay.
My God.
And not even just that. I'm gonna be real with y'all, right? They say this all about gay people, but they want to wear the gay brands though. The Louis, the Versace, the
Now,
Chanel, all of this stuff.
clock
You
it.
support these gay
Clock it.
people all the time anyway when you're spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to be branded, boo. So what is it?
I don't know if y'all ever seen there's a vampire TV show called True Blood, but there was a guy on there named Lafayette. He was one of my
I
favorite fucking
remember Lafayette.
characters, and he was gay. And he was cooking in the back. He was a cook in the back, and there was these guys that ordered food or whatever, and one of them ordered a burger. And then he sent the burger back, and he told the girl Suki, I ordered my burger without AIDS. And so then he took it over there, and then Lafayette said to her, "What's wrong with the burger? There's something wrong with it?" And she was like, "No, nothing, nothing." He said, "What is wrong with the burger?" And then she was like, "He said that he didn't order it with AIDS." And then he was like, "Okay." And he went to the guy with the burger and said some things to him and let him know that there are gay men who've been making your burgers, your wine, your cows, your milk, your everything years long before I got here. So sitting here doing that is crazy. It's crazy. If you sit and want to go off to the fact of, oh, somebody gay, so I'm not going this, I'm not going that, then there's a lot of stuff you need to stop doing instantly and do more research on. It's so
Now I want to touch on something else that Nadi also brought up, and that's yeah, you're supposed to be able to come as you are, right? But do y'all think that that's just part of the church's business? Because you want a large congregation, right? You want a plethora of people coming to your services daily, your 9 o'clock, your 11 o'clock, your 1 o'clock. You want that crowd.
I'm so mad you knew the times, but you forgot the 5 o'clock.
You want your crowd, right? Because you also want those offerings and those tithes as well. Is that just part of the business?
sad that it feels like maybe it's always been like this, and maybe just now that we're older, we're actually viewing it the way that it's always been. I don't know. But I hate the fact of, like, yes, I know that it's a business and where you have to pay for the building, you have to pay for whatever, the electricity, the water, the cleaners, all this other good stuff. I get all that, right? But when now we are buying Maseratis and planes and all this other good stuff, it makes me wonder, like, are we still seeking people to come to the Lord, or are you just seeking a mansion? Like, I don't know what's going.
Ain't the Lord tax exempt? Because I heard these churches tax exempt, boo. So what we talking about? What other extra money y'all need if y'all ain't paying taxes? I thought that is tithes and offering.
First of
Mm-hmm.
all, y'all women's need to be thou art loosed, or you need to pay 1,500 to 2,000 for these prayers. Thank you. Signed, Juanita. First of all, Juanita said we ain't loosed yet, so damn it, get your credit my cards out and start a charger. Yes, credit my cards.
It's Women's History Month. We ain't doing none of that. Hello?
You know what?
Right,
Okay.
because churches now take Apple Pay. You can pay,
Listen, they got an ATM at the
online.
back.
Right, it's an ATM in the back. Don't act like you can't go to that ATM and give your tithes and offering.
Listen, they want your taxes when you
And then
join.
how many times the plate gonna go around? It's tithe offerings and what else? Because at this point,
The building
The
fund, the
building
children's fund,
okay, the
the pastor's birthday fund,
anniversary,
the children need love fund.
Uber E fund.
But you know what? See, that's why I say it's some churches, because one of the churches that I'm talking about that I attended, they didn't do the whole, plate passing, because they didn't want you to get distracted. They just did the sermon. They didn't do the plate passing. They told you if you wanted to if you wanted to do tithes and offerings,
It was white
then
people at that church, huh?
it sure
And that's
was.
what it was.
It sure was. Mm-hmm.
What about those churches that called you out and you had to walk to the front of the church to put your offerings in the plate? What about those churches? You walk down the aisle, stand up.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I have to give a shout out to my mom because she came up with the term church without walls. And that's why I am like I am now about going to church. I don't feel like I need to walk inside of a church to have a relationship or to give back. And with church without walls means we're giving back directly to the community. Instead of giving our money to the pastor in the church every Sunday, we're going to go out and buy a family who needs some groceries, $200-300 in groceries. That's our tithes for the week. We go sit here and buy somebody something or give to somebody where we know our money is actually going to go and benefit, right? But at the same time, I feel like these churches that come with walls come with stipulations that require your pockets to be deeper than theirs in order for them to get deeper so they can say you getting deeper with God. Meanwhile, you're getting further from God as they get deeper in your pockets and they get further away from the Bible. But I digress.
Listen, I listen. I have my own personal relationship with God, and I just think that as long as I have the Lord inside of me, and I follow, and I follow Him, and I have my personal relationship with Him, I'm gonna be okay. I don't feel like you have to force, because I feel like certain people just go to church to do it. I feel like there can also be evil people in church saying that they preaching the Lord and preaching the sermon and all of that stuff, and they're sleeping with their whole congregation.
Absolutely.
So what's really loose, Drāyas, right? Because at this point, I didn't see pastors have a whole wife and dating and talking to multiple women in church.
Don't get me started, child. Don't get me started. Just the women. It's not just the women, Bookie Baby Bear.
Oh, and the men too. You know, you got some DL pastors, you know what I'm saying? Listen, Drāyas. Listen, they ain't just on their knees praying for the Lord. I heard they was on their knees doing something else, but I digress.
Let's not act like we don't know that the archetype of the choir is the conductor or the and always the drummer, the choir director. It's something about the drummer and the choir director. I don't know what it is, but it's just the drummer and the choir director. The drummer is always DL and the choir director is just openly gay. Like,
Don't do it,
it's not a
sis.
secret.
Well, yes. Don't play. And the choir director, you're not lying. That choir director for sure about to go off.
But the church don't want to talk about it. So I guess I'll just move around, y'all. So that was the tea topic. So Juanita, Again, don't be carrying glass Bibles throwing hard verses, Bookie. Now, listen, now we're getting into a hot topic, which we kind of touched on last week. And this one is going to kind of like rub people the wrong way. And some of y'all going to follow me. But as y'all know, for the most part, I don't give a damn about y'all raggedy MF's opinion. Okay? We gonna talk about age gaps in relationships, and that's circling back to our Tommy Lee convo with Jules. Now, y'all know Tommy Lee came back and was like, listen, I'm not that type of girl. Then we had got some exclusive tea in the chats. Now, Naughty, I don't want to butcher the person's name. Who did we get our exclusive tea from that commented in our comments to be commenting?
I just want to say shout outs to Rashad. Rashad is an individual that helps clients. His clientele consists of like Sydney Starr, the agency, Mrs. Norwood, and he actually helped with the production of the Girls Club. Shout outs to Ray J. And so Rashad, we follow each other. He commented under the comments and stated that Tommy and Jules are honestly not dating. So that was the exclusive tea. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, relative.
Yes, hey, relative.
Okay, now listen. Here's my thing on that. Y'all know we talked about it and we was just like, well, Beyonce's family, the Carter Knowles regime, black royalty, off topic. I mean, like off top, right? So my thing is, back in the day, age gaps weren't a big deal, y'all. Like my great grandmother and great grandfather had an age gap, and they had 12 kids, and they was married most of their life. One died at 101, and one died at 103. So in my family, like, I see age gaps between my grandmother and my grandfather, my great grandmother, my great grandfathers, my aunties, my uncles. Back then, in those times, even now, this wasn't a big deal. But I do feel like as society has progressed, the age of information and social media, it's now become a problem. And now everybody has this outrage, quote unquote, right? And it seems like they more or less are coming for the women who are deciding to date possibly a little younger, but giving these YNs all the praises for bagging what they call them, cougars,
Cougars, pumas,
pumas,
Panthers.
panthers.
panthers. Listen, in a minute, to moment, puma, shoot, Kuna
It means
Matata.
no
I don't
worries.
know. But what I do know is this age gap conversation is a real thing and a hot topic because I'm like, how is it that you guys praise your young sons and I'm going to use the example of Boosie, who we all know had got a stripper, if I'm not mistaken, for his young son. Nobody, like, I see nothing but men praising that, like, yeah, get a little boy on it, whoop de whoop de whoop. But and if so, but we know it's not true anymore. But at the time when the story came out, what if Tommy was talking to Jules? What if she was?
Well, I said that in our
You
last
did call
episode.
it.
I
I
said we're
did
not really
too.
blinking those type of eyes when it comes to, men doing it, right? But when it comes to the women, it's like, oh, look at that. I also stated in our last episode, this wasn't going to be a thing this week. And what? It's not.
I said, what if they not?
But I do understand where you're coming from, right? There were huge age gaps back in the day. And maybe not huge in some people's life, but there were some huge age gaps. Now, it wasn't anything that blinked an eye because what people were joining, they were becoming unions.
Let's don't bring up Elvis and his little situation because that girl was.
I mean,
Listen,
I guess we could talk about all of them because who was it? Woody Harold? Who was the guy who has the young
Woody
Woody
Allen,
Allen?
who adopted
Yeah.
the young girl and then married. That was crazy.
Oh, what? Is this allegedly?
I have a few more, y'all. So on the Baby This Is Kiki podcast, Kiki, now 32, and Demi Lovato, now 33, revealed they dated much older men as teenagers. Kiki Palmer dated a 20-year-old at the age of 15, and Lovato dated at 30
Mm.
a 30-year-old man when she was a teen. They both now view this experience inappropriate and troubling. So is that kind of like a thing in Hollywood where oftentimes it's kind of like something that's not expressed as much as how we would view it as inappropriate, that these teenagers are dating much older individuals, like when you're actor or actresses, and when you talk about dating young girls, like think about it, the Michael Jackson situations, the B2K situations, the Little Bow Wow situations where you have these women throwing themselves at you, or when you're a young girl in the industries, you're dating much older men. And also, we even heard like just with regular people, it was a lot of girls in high school dating much older men in high school, like 30, 40-year olds. They would come pick them up.
Well, Kiki and Lovato both expressed that they thought it was normal, right? They were like, we're in this industry, we're in this world, right? So it's like it was normal to them. It was like, okay, I guess this is where I'm supposed to be. Yeah, at that time. So it is that. I'm scratching my head. Ladies?
At that time. Well, I don't think that I don't think that's appropriate at all. 15 and 20 and 30? 15 and 30.
Yeah, and most of the time, because me growing up, I have always looked older than what I am. Not like now they think I look younger, but when I was younger, they thought I was older. So like I was 13 years old and shaped like a grown woman. And guys would come approaching me and I would tell them like, I'm 13. And they would be like, if you ain't want to talk to me, that's all you had to say. You ain't gotta lie to me about your age. Like so, you know, I think that when you're that young back in the day, you got used to older men talking to you. And so then eventually I started talking to older people. Like I was just used to older mindsets than the younger ones.
I have to agree with that.
But I'll also say though, I mean, I'm sorry. I get it that, Kiki and Lovato, had this discussion, but I know at least for Kiki, I thought, did her mom give her this man permission? Like what was this a secret thing? Or was this something that it was just something that is the culture of what she, her life, of her lifestyle, being in Hollywood? What's the realty?
Or was her mom complicit because Kiki was the breadwinner of the family?
That's what I'm asking. I'm saying, what's the real tea?
Did the mama know?
Everything in Hollywood is hidden. Funds hides everything. Okay. Your funds is hiding everything. Okay.
Not only that, just but think about it. There's mothers that do know. Allegedly, Kylie was dating Tyga allegedly when she was younger. Remember that story?
Right. Mhm.
Supposedly, allegedly, the girl who plays Wednesday, was also dating Johnny Depp, I believe it was.
Not too much on my girl Wednesday and not too much on Johnny Depp. Listen.
Them both. I love them both, but that's what I was gonna say was like both of their personalities seem the same. So I could see why they would be, but it's not like she was, you know what I'm saying, some little 12-year-old or something like that. You know what I'm saying? She's grown. She's older.
She's actually following in the footsteps of like the Johnny Depp because Tim Burton is actually putting his hands into her, right? Like if you think about it, she just did Beetlejuice. Now she's doing the Adams Family, and these are Tim Burton's, some of his projects, with like that kind of like gory gore, gothic. Tim Burton that's what he does. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
But yeah, this is allegedly.
Well, listen, child. These age gaps ain't alleged, child.
I'm talking about them actually dating though. I don't know because neither one
I
of
know,
them
I know,
wanted
I know. I'm just
to
being
speak on
funny.
it. I know that she said she just wanted some privacy. That's all she said. She said she just wanted some privacy. I said, okay, what? Not leaving the people wondering. Oh, okay.
That's code for I don't think I want him to go to jail.
Man. Yeah, those age gaps can be a thing, but I get your question, Drāyas. Is it really a thing? Relative, let us know what you think about that.
On a serious note, I want to know what y'all think about age gaps in relationships. And let me tell you something, I'll keep it a band. This is coming from somebody, me, myself, Drāyas, who normally dates older. Like I said, one of my exes is now 55. I'm only 38. Okay? So don't talk to me about age gaps. And I've only dated one person that was younger than me once, and for me, like, they were cool, but it wasn't my speed, you know? You gotta try at least once and see if that's for you, and that was not for me, okay? So I'm all about dating up and older, I'm okay with that. The age gap works for you,
Nah.
it's not a
Well, girl,
problem
I
for
love
me.
my. I was just gonna say, girl, I love my YN. So, I am 36 and my boyfriend is 24 and I love my YN. He gives me everything that I need and more. No shade. So
Don't get me into the YN topic that, they're telling us to women to go get a YN now, child. We're going to say that for the next one, okay?
listen, get you a I don't know what it is. Listen, I ain't dating nobody 18 or nothing like that. But I love my YN. I don't know. It's something about the YNs that they just know how to hold it down for a lot.
Now, when you're dating, now I have a question for the topic at hand. And I know, Drāyas, you said you've dated older, and I just was wondering, is there a benefit in dating older as a young lady? And if it is, what were those benefits, or how did you feel like that was beneficial for you?
For me, I'll say dating older, like in my 20s, like when I was in my 20s. It was a mental thing. Like I noticed a lot of guys in my age range, we just weren't on the mental thing. You remember, I went to college at 17. So all my friends were older than me anyway and still are older than me. And then so for me, my connection, my mental, the things that I was into, the places that I like to go were not at the age of like a 20-year-old. I'm out here moving around like I'm in my almost my late 20s, about to go into my 30s, and I'm only 21, you know what I'm saying? So for me, that benefit was just the connection that we had, and we were on the same wavelength. We had a lot of the same commonalities and goals, especially as they get older in life. And, they say women mature faster than men anyway. So for me, that benefit was more on a mental connection and life path level. It wasn't about all this high-end stuff about cars and shoes and clothes. I care less about any of that. So yeah, that's the controversial side of it. But in speaking about controversy, we'll get into this third topic, right? This good, clean Olympics. Now, y'all know the Olympics is coming to us. What's that, in 2028? It's coming to LA in 2028.
Yep,
Hey, hey, hey,
2028.
hey. So,
I
that means big
cannot.
revenue. They're already trying to build things. They're already trying to clean the streets up. They putting all the homeless people in a more homelesslier place. They putting all the poor people in a poor place, and all the rich people trying to make it richer in a place. Well, where's the lie? Okay. Now, listen, what I want to talk about with this right here is athletes versus Olympic money making machines. Now, we know the Olympics brings in buku money, right? And my source from this one is the Washington Post. And basically, the Olympic generates about 7.7 billion in one cycle, right? But the reality of it is most athletes don't even see any or majority of that money. They train full time, but most of them need side jobs, which I did not know, y'all. When I found out some of these athletes had side jobs, I was floored. Like, when you got time to flip on the bars and a burger, that's crazy. Then it says only a few stars get endorsements. And it's like, okay, hold on. Y'all are making all this money, but where is it going? And it's like most Olympic athletes are not paid to compete, often relying on side jobs, sponsorships, or minimal medal bonuses to funding and training. The money machine distributes revenue primarily to National Olympic Committees, which is the NOC, right? Leaving many elite competitors with significant financial instability despite the game's massive commercial success. So when we see all those girls jumping and flipping and doing all this, yes, I did that. I flipped backwards and didn't fall and I'm dismounted. Really, this is awesome. But I'm still poor. That's what I'm gonna start seeing when they're flipping out these damn balance beam bars and risking their lives jumping off these damn mountains with them small ass skis, okay? Let's talk about the revenue gap. The IOC's revenue stems from broadcasting rights and sponsorships with over 4 billion, yes, 4 billion for the pandemic affected Tokyo Games alone. Yet athletes receive no direct salary from them. Now, the medal versus reality pay, while high profile athletes secure endorsements, many rely on country specific bonuses. For example, US athletes receive around, it's a guesstimate for gold, whereas it gave me no numbers. So the US was smart. They said, we're not even going to tell you how much we actually give them for gold versus cash because you're not going to come for us. Mess around and find out. Then it comes with strict rules for commercial. The IOC restricts athletes for promoting their own sponsors during the games. How sway? How greedy can y'all be to say, you know what? Not only was we not going to pay you, you better win. And outside of winning, bet not speak on your sponsors, but you could definitely wear them, okay? How does that work? And then so the solidarity model, The IOC claims that 90% of revenue is distributed to the NOC and Sports Federation, but this is a long cycle of support rather than direct pay for competitors. With the high expenses, the cost of living, gas is $799 million a gallon. They have to do elite training and costs. So let's think about they got to pay their coaches for gym fees, and they're rarely covered, which is forcing a lot of them into second jobs. So what are y'all thoughts in knowing all this and finding out that they're about to make all this revenue coming to LA for the Olympics, and half of them finna be broke eating the top ramen?
So is the Olympics like a pimp for the state that or the place that they like revenue get money? Like what?
That is what an analogy. Wow. I mean, I guess if you say it like that and you really put it into view, I guess it could be. Now, okay, Drāyas, they say that they don't get paid, right, for doing the Olympics or being active in the Olympics. But what other endorsements are they getting, right? Because I know someone like Simone Biles, right? She's an Olympic gold medalist. I mean, I've seen her everywhere. She's, has a husband now in the NFL. Like, are there other endorsements that may happen, or is this just something because you want to be an Olympian of the entire world that you this is a goal, right? Because you're an athlete and this is what you actually want to accomplish is being an Olympian.
So it says Olympians are allowed to have endorsements, but there are strict rules around it, right? Especially around the timing of those endorsements during the Olympics. So they can have endorsements, but I think it's the timing that it goes around. And so what is allowed before and after the Olympics is athletes can sign endorsement deals with like Nike and Adidas. They can appear in commercials, ads, and campaigns. They can promote brand major income through sponsorships. They can promote brands on social media. And these are how stars like Simone Biles and LeBron James makes millions outside the competition, right? But during the Olympics, Rule 40 restricts this and clearly this. The International Olympic Committee enforces Rule 40. And this is where things get tricky for the Olympians, right? During a specific what they call blackout period, athletes cannot promote non-Olympic sports using Olympic-related language, post ads that reference the Olympics, like going for the gold with Nike. They cannot do new marketing campaigns tied to Olympic performances, but they can thank sponsors in a generic way, continue pre-approved campaigns with no Olympic references, and post normally as long as it's not tied to the games. This is the most idiotic thing I have heard. And all of them don't get sponsors, mind you. Let's talk about that.
Wow. Yeah, let's be real.
All of them don't have Rule 40 because they don't have a sponsor to Rule 40. So
Right.
now, if you want to know why the rule exists, this is why. It protects the official Olympic sponsors like Coca-Cola, Visa, etc. It keeps the Olympics brands tightly controlled, and it prevents ambush marketing, which is brand sneaking in exposure without paying, right? Which is understandable, but at the same time, I think that takes the toll on the Olympian because they're pushing their body to the limit and the max. They're probably getting minimal rest or as much as required that they need to win. And then not only that, they're missing time out with their family. You can't even pay them accordingly.
Now wait. Now with the sponsors though, can the sponsors promote the athletes, right? The Visa, the Coca-Cola, and is it a loophole to where that Olympian still gets paid in that contract?
Let's see.
This is a real question. Yeah, they going through all of that. They really sound like they really being pimped out. You know it's hard out here for a pimp.
Now let me tell you how they putting they Ike to they Tina on this. All right, I'm about to say.
But isn't this like the same thing as artists? If you think about it like a 360 deal, like music artists and all of that stuff. Because if you honestly think when we see it as consumers, we're thinking that they're getting so much money, millions of dollars. But when we hear stories from like TLC or other people saying stories like a 360 deal and all of this extra stuff where we're thinking that they're making so much money and they're actually not making any profit,
Yes.
or people go do this whole bankruptcy thing like Tony Braxton, because it's like on the back end, because you got to pay for this, that, and this. And it's like you're not receiving any royalties because you got to pay for all of these things. So we may think just because we see them on TV, just because they seem like they're big stars, they're honestly not making a lot of money as we honestly think.
And that's a fact. Now, and to circle back into AB's question, AB, yes, they can. The sponsors can promote the athlete, but that also comes with heavy restrictions as well. It says sponsors can promote athletes during the Olympics, but how they do it depends on whether they are official Olympic sponsors or not. And the way for to notate the two is there are companies partnered with the International Olympic Committee, which is the IOC. And think about companies like Coca-Cola, Visa, etc., right? Now, those companies can promote and run Olympic themed ads. They can use Olympic footage, logos, and language, and they can celebrate the athletes' wins with congrats on your gold medal. That basically is full access to Olympic marketing rights. Now, the other half of this is non-Olympic sponsors, which are most athlete deals. This is where Rule 40 kicks in, AB. They can promote the athletes, but only if the sponsors get approval, like from Team USA or USOPC. If the campaign is already running before the Olympics and it's not a brand new one, and the ads are generic with no Olympic references at all. And they cannot mention these terms here. Now, peep this. This is part of that Rule 40 that it gets tricky, even on the sponsor side, AB. It says, they cannot mention Olympics, gold, Team USA, etc. They cannot use Olympic footage, medals, or uniforms. They cannot launch a new campaign tied to Olympic performance, and they cannot act like they're affiliated with the games. Even congratulatory posts are limited to and must be generic with no Olympic wording or images referenced in what they have to do. So it's a catch-22 on both sides. So the Olympic, I really feel, is the pimpiness. The Olympics is pimping hundreds of y'all right now. That was a great question, AB, because that just made me look at this they are in a 360, the sponsors and the athlete. They are in a 360 with the Olympics.
Okay. That's crazy. Now, I wonder if that comes too, because I don't know if you guys know, but some athletes decline the Olympics. They don't accept that invitation to be in the Olympics. And I wonder if that has anything to do with it, because they take their whole summers or winters or whatever to be in the Olympics, which means pretty much they're not going to make any money.
That's so crazy. Now it makes sense because I used to wonder all the time, like, what? You turned down the Olympics? That's crazy. Because I'm thinking, that's crazy money you turning down. They're turning down being pimped out. And I get it now. I get it.
You're right.
I don't want to stand on the balance beam for free.
I don't want to do these flips.
So like y'all the show, but y'all not getting paid. Is this so the real question is this passion or exploitation with good branding?
But is it branding? Because I can't get my brand deals till after, or unless I'm in with one of the sponsors and we have to do that delicately. So what?
Now hold on, listen. Now that we're talking about delicate stuff, now on hot tea, cold logic with Drāyas. We in our fourth topic here, right? And this actually ties into what we were just talking about. And y'all know this is gonna get a little touchy, but this is viral news right here for our fourth topic. And it's actually the transgender athlete ban in the Olympics, right? So y'all know the big topic, of course, has been the Olympics coming to LA. We just discussed how the Olympics is a big money machine, pimping out these these Olympians in this sort of way. So would they be Zeus?
Oh my God.
Okay. Well, because they're called Olympians. And so I thought of Zeus, Mount Olympia. Yeah, I'm sorry, y'all. That's how my brain. Listen, that was some hot tea and some cold logic right there. Okay. So listen, with this transgender athlete ban in the Olympics, the International Olympics Committee is banning transgender women from competing in women's events starting in 2028, which is basically the Olympics that's coming here. Now, mind you, we have a very large LGBTQ plus community. So this is really just gonna be an interesting event. And now what threw me with this is that it requires genetic testing. It's the SRY gene to determine eligibility, right? And the reason this is blowing up right now is because some say it protects fairness in women's sports, and others say it's discriminatory, outdated, and invasive. And I kind of wanted to know what y'all thoughts were on this. Do y'all think it's protecting the fairness in women's sports, or do y'all think it's discriminatory, outdated, and invasive? And relatives, I want to know what you think too. But to my co-host, I definitely want to know your thoughts on this.
Okay, so let me just I just want to make sure I understand. They are only banning it in women's sports, so men's sports allows it?
Correct. I want people to understand it's not just transgender, right? Because it's not just transgender women. You have transgender men, and then you also have non-binary individuals that do not either does not accept either gender, man or woman. But it's funny because it's like I see all of these conversations around trans women in the Olympics, and I want to ask y'all.
Wait, before
Okay.
you get into that question, though, I do want to provide some clarity on AB's question and make this really clear. It's saying no, transgenders are not banned from all Olympic sports, but there is a major new rule in 2028 that changes these things, right? So the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, announced that for the 2028 LA Olympics, gender women will not be allowed to participate in women's events. And this is based on the new eligibility rule requiring biological sex verification, which is basically the SYR gene test. But they are not banned from the Olympics entirely. They may still compete in men's categories, mixed events, and there's a potential for other open categories if offered.
Right. And so the reason for my question is because if I'm a trans man, that to me is saying that I can still go into the men's category, even though genetically I'm a woman, because you're only banning it in women's sports.
So does that mean a woman can go play in man sport if she's a trans man?
That's what I'm asking.
Okay, I just want to make sure I was following. So let's find out. Naughty, chime in because I know you wanted to talk.
No, I mean, yeah. So again, this does not affect trans men or non-binary individuals if they want to, participate in men's sports, right? And I wanted to like give y'all some information because it just seems like we have this kind of like conversation about trans women in the Olympics in sports. Did y'all know only one openly trans woman from New Zealand, weightlifter Lauren Herbert, has competed in the Olympics in the last 10 years? One.
That's my thing. So is what's causing the uproar for the Olympics tied to what's been happening in maybe high school and college sports where there are trans men and women competing in different sports and winning, and people are claiming it's not fair? And do you think that has trickled down into the Olympics now?
I didn't know that. It is possible because I know that I did get to see a clip where they was talking about this, and the lady was saying how like just one percentage of like the testosterone being over is like more powerful, you know what I'm saying, than on a woman who doesn't have that same amount of testosterone, you know what I'm saying, so like in strength is what she was saying basically. So I guess that they're okay with like if you're a woman transitioning into a man and you're choosing to put yourself in the man category and whatever happens over there because I guess the men can like handle that. But then like if you're a man transitioning to a woman and you're coming into the women's section, you may dominate over there if you have a certain percentage over of testosterone than the other women who have also been tested.
Right. But it seemed like, so this is my thing, right? And the way people talk about this topic, even if I don't agree with certain stuff, it's like they make it seem like there's so many trans individuals in sports, right? So based on the testimony from NCAA president in December 2024, there are fewer than 10 openly transgender student athletes among more than 500,000 total NCAA participants. 10, but they make it seem like it's so much trans individuals in sports. That bothers me. And it's not just trans women. This includes trans men and non-binary individuals.
Right, because I remember us looking at the percentages.
Like it's not even a big, it's nothing. That's what I'm trying to say. So think of how many trans individuals actually competed from trans men and non-binary. Because even though they have bodybuilders, there are trans men in the men's categories and the bodybuilder. And people are also forgetting about intersex individuals, right? And also, there has been times where women have competed and they couldn't compete because their testosterone was higher, but they're biological women.
Mhm. Yep, because that is a thing. It's literally what I was just about to say. There are women who do have the higher testosterone and they cannot compete because of that. So it seems like everybody does get affected by it all across the board, no matter how you identify. they're going to be, if you are, the fight will also be, if I'm 100% woman, like that's me, I'm cis, like that's me. And now you trying to tell me I can't because my testosterone, like that don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? And so now,
Right. Correct. And that's why this stuff get dangerous, right? Like you have women with PCOS, you have these things where it's not just about the testosterone, but now they're actually going into the chromosomes as well. And I understand the fairness and everything like that, but it's just a fear mongering behind so many trans individuals in sports because they're honestly not. So if you have like and again, these are the percentages in 2024, you only have 10 trans individuals out of 500,000 people that participate in sports. It's kind of like, okay, come on now. Y'all making this bigger than what it is. Y'all honestly are just y'all are doing the entire most. And I understand the fairness behind everything, but at the same time, when there's not so many trans individuals in sports, it makes me question what the real motive is.
No, I totally agree with you on that. And I just think at some point, I still not sure why they just don't create a whole category for trans. But hey, who am I but a mere human bubble? Like this argument is for what?
Agreed. No, no, listen, I agree. Drāyas, honestly, I agree with you. I think that a lot of people was the first to do it, right? And even if there's a category where it's like a gladiator style where, trans individuals can compete where they're doing a multitude of like different, sports events like running, rock climbing, etc. Until you actually built these teams because again, these trans individuals, they're all over. So you have some, when I say all over, meaning like everybody's not in the same category, right? You got some that does track, you got some that may weight lift. You may have some, they're in their separate categories. So it's just like I hate to see the fear mongering behind it. I hate to see it seem like, oh my God, it's so many trans people. And it's honestly not. It's not.
Nadi, what was the percentage? Did you give that already? The percentage of trans women in the Olympics. Did you give that stat?
I did. It was only in the last 10 years, it was only one openly trans woman in the Olympics. And like I said, and I think one of y'all had mentioned high school or colleges and all of that stuff. And then I said, based on the NCAA president in December 2024, there are fewer than 10 openly transgender student athletes among more than 500,000 total NCAA participants.
Got you.
You want to know what's crazy? They want to holler and scream about trans in Olympics and all this other stuff, but don't want to talk about these Jeffrey Epstein files. But that's another conversation for another day. But anyways, y'all, we're going to cover that in our next Hot Tea and Cold Logic. I hope y'all enjoyed. And I'm giving this back to AB because, listen, I have served up what I can serve.
Yes, it was cold. It was logic. It was everything that it needed to be. Shout out to you, Drāyas. We appreciate you. Hot tea, cold logic. Okay. I loved it. How y'all feeling tonight, relatives? You still in the building? We appreciate y'all for pulling up to Voices with Relativity. It's your girl, AB.
Drāyas.
just Law.
Nadia.
Shout out to y'all. Now listen, y'all, we going into real spill with AB. Okay. Now listen, I want y'all to keep it real here. I need your honest and true raw opinion and just don't be afraid. It might get messy. It might get a little, you know what I'm saying? Ooh, tense in here, but I need the realness. Okay. My question for you all is healing while dating fair or selfish? Right? Because for me, I feel like don't date me while you healing, okay? If I'm the one you practicing on, don't practice on me, okay? I don't want the unhealed man, all right? I believe it's dating. I believe it's selfish, healing while dating. I believe it's so selfish for you to come into someone's life and be healing while you dating that person, right? Because this person don't know that you healing. They in it to win it, okay? They under the impression that you building together. Little do she know, she being used as your therapist, your psychologist, and to me, that is just absolutely selfish. Ladies, Can I hear from you?
AB, I just want to say this. I think that two things can exist. I think that some people may accept people in their healing phase, right? Let's think about, I'm not for sure if you know these people, like Queen Naja and Clarence. I remember Queen Naja was with Chris, right? Her ex, and Clarence knew that, like, cause you would see them on YouTube and you would see how Chris treated Queen Naja, right? And Queen Naja also talked about her phases with her ex Chris, right? And how he said that she wasn't nothing. She didn't feel good. She wasn't fat. Her talents wasn't enough. Like nothing was enough until she actually left that relationship. And Clarence came into the healing phase and basically was reassuring to her, like, baby, like, whatever, how that man broke you down, I'm willing to build you up. And whatever I have to do with you, because I see it for you and I'm growing to love you, I'm willing to take this journey with you. So I get exactly what you're saying, but there's some people that may see like that person really messing up in that relationship. I could be the one to take care of that. I could be the one to come in your life and really show you how a man is supposed to treat you or how a woman's supposed to treat you.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Naughty. I think two things can be true at the same time. I think I agree with AB and Naughty in this situation because I think I've been on both ends of the spectrum. But I think the difference with me is I think I was upfront and I think the other parties involved were upfront at those times. And I think honesty and open nature to see if you could even make that work. Because what if y'all both meet each other and y'all both healing? There's this YouTube couple that I love and they just had a baby and they actually met during their healing process, right? He had just left his fiance, she had just left her fiance. They had been single for a year. They both happened to get on a dating app. I think their name is Jamal and Chantel, I believe, or Shawnee. And, basically, they found each other in their healing process, and they have a beautiful blossoming marriage. They just had a baby, and it works for them. I think it's about what works, and y'all know how I am. I say I'm more of a free spirit. I flow and I grow with life. You know, sometimes what we need may not come when we want it, and you gotta be open to that, and that's how I think.
I feel like that, I would have to agree with AB. You need to heal. I think that a lot of times, yes, for some people it can work out. For some people, that situation can be, a beautiful thing. But healing is so important for you to get out of your body, your system, the fact that you have been abused, you've been hurt, you've been cheated on, you've been whatever the situation was, because sometimes it won't be that. Sometimes it's financial or just not understanding each other. I just feel like healing